Hey guys, hope you're doing really well today or tonight. I want to make a quick video today on why I'm always looking into hobbies and interests. And I guess for the most part, we're kind of all evolving and doing different things over time. For the most part, we're not kind of doing the same thing over and over and over for the entirety of our lives. We normally would have a mix or we'd kind of just try different things, I guess as we evolve over time. But I'm really, really kind of into the idea of always, and by always, I mean maybe every couple months, maybe every 3 months. I like to kind of look at the year in terms of quarters instead of like one whole year. So it's almost like a new start each quarter, but I won't get into that in this video. But essentially, yeah, quite regularly, I'm kind of looking into new things and kind of, what I might be interested in, what I feel, I might watch something and I'm like, I'm quite interested in that. Let me dig a little bit deeper and over the next 3 to 6 months, turns out I absolutely love plants, for example. And I've bought an array of different plants for outside the house, inside the house. I'm learning how to care for them. I'm learning lots of different bits and bobs. Or it might be photography, it might be painting, it might be maybe reading a new book, maybe it's taking on some kind of exercise. So whatever it is, lots of different things all the time. But I'll go into exactly why I'm so proactively looking at this, and why maybe you should too. So, like I said, you change as you go through life. We're not the same person we were 10 years ago. We're always evolving and craving new things. So, for me, I happen to crave quite often. I get quite bored at kind of the monotony of doing the same thing over and over. And even when, for example, like plants or like fragrances, right? I'll learn quite a lot. I might purchase a few things, maybe a couple $100 worth, some starters essentially, and kind of just understand, what's what, and really kind of dive deeper and deeper. And then there might come one point where, instead of spending $20, $30 per plant or per fragrance, I'm spending $300 per plant or per fragrance because I'm really starting to understand the nuances and what makes certain things, you know, work this way, or why this is exciting, or why this is expensive, right? So um, we're always changing, and sometimes I've reached the peak of that, and it's like, well, now I'm done, right? I've learned as much as I can, or as much as I'm willing to learn. It's time to move on to the new thing. At 25 right now, I'm looking to running, biking, reading, investing, and working. It may be different at 35. Some small things, like I mentioned, like fragrances, plants, travel, these kind of things, right? Um, and so it looks like the next thing for me might be something along the lines of like coding using AI. So that's something that I've been more interested in recently, and also cybersecurity. Time, money, and responsibilities have the biggest impact here. What are you currently into? Excuse me. So obviously, what's the name? We're all different people. We all have different things that we got having going on. I'm quite lucky to have quite a good asset base and also income and I guess financial situation at my age, which means I'm able to kind of just try different things. And if I do get bored, I'm able to kind of pivot quite easily. For other people, it might be, hey, you're not very, you're not in a great money situation, so your hobbies might kind of move towards a side hustle thing, or it might move towards getting a second job, so you don't have time for a hobby. Or I mean, you might be a fitness freak, you might not care about money, and you're regularly kind of trying different sports, maybe trying different types of nutrition, maybe multivitamins, maybe protein powders, kind of seeing what you're into, right? So we're all very different people as we are, but then also as we change over time, we also are quite different in that regard. Learning new things always excites me, either different topics or going deeper into current interests. Yeah, like I said, I love learning. I've spent pretty much, a couple of hours each day learning about something new, or kind of developing or looking into things that I already know, just to kind of, deepen that knowledge and become almost like an expert or a master in that certain field. Now, I know we can't be masters at everything, but um, I found that at certain times of my life, when I'm really into stocks, for example, I'll learn everything there is to do about stocks. You know, even like trading fees, expense ratios, why certain stocks perform well over others, why different ETFs perform certain ways, like lots of different bits and bobs, right? Even vehicles on how to invest in stocks, right? Maybe internationally, maybe through your retirement account, maybe in your personal name, maybe in a business, lots of different things, right? So I'm kind of diving deeper and deeper. And then I'll learn a lot, and then I'll kind of move on to the next thing, and I'll put that on pause and I won't look at it for a while. And or I've done things to where I've put that thing on autopilot. So it frees up my time to learn more things, right? So that's kind of what I've been doing, and I've just kind of been, I guess, changing as I go over time, using that strategy, right, to kind of learn a lot, implement, automate, and then move on to something else that interests me a little bit more. Another reason why I'm trying so many different things is I think just for meaning and fulfillment, honestly. For the past few years, I've battled with what could bring me more meaning and purpose in life. Um, I think a lot of the time when I am learning and when I'm really engaged in something, I don't think of it too often. Like I don't really worry too often, or I'm not really try and search for things. But I think when you become a master of that certain thing, it becomes a little bit boring, and then you're like, well, what do I do? What's my purpose? What's my meaning? What else is there to do in life, right? So, and I can't really just sit there and just chill. Like you can chill for a little bit, but I can't do it too long. So I always need to be learning or developing or doing something new, right? That's for me personally. I know it's not going to be the same for everyone else. I feel like I've completed my objectives for now, so I've constantly been searching for more. Yes, there's like I just said, if you have personal goals and maybe you set them too low, or maybe you set them at a good level, but you happen to over excel. Either or, I've completed them for now, so I probably need to relook at that whole life goal planning process thing. And it just means I've just been constantly searching for more because it's like once you've achieved things, like what do you do? At a minimum, you work, Monday to Friday, and you have your weekends off. And at a minimum, what do you do during the time on the weekends? So that's just something that I've been kind of considering. And again, you're in a very privileged position to be able to say that because obviously not everyone is in that position to just have so much free time and kind of just do what they want. Um, but if you've been so focused on self development and putting things in place like I have, from age 15 to age 25, you might be in a similar position, right? Okay. Now, because I've completed my objectives, I feel I've kind of been creating new challenges through the last few years. For example, doing a marathon. Ironman I haven't done yet, but I will hopefully be doing soon. Trying starting a new business like on YouTube, even though it isn't really a business, it's more of a hobby, and also doing lots of side hustles, right? Going trying different things and seeing what interests me and seeing what sticks, right? Because I'm sure not everything will work, but those that do will bring me lots of joy and bring me lots of fulfillment in my life. I find myself very reliant on what other people are doing or find interesting. Yeah, so this was an interesting point that I just wanted to kind of flag. But I feel like a lot of what I like, I get inspiration from other people. So it's probably unlikely that one day I'll wake up and say, "Hey, I want to try this thing or I want to do this," with no prior kind of influence from other people. It's probably likely that I've gotten that idea from someone or they've kind of planted the seed somewhere, and then I've slept on it. I've developed the idea in my head, and I thought, wow, this is really quite interesting. So, and then I'll pursue it, right? For whatever reason, I don't know if this is everyone's the same, but I just can't really think of things myself without getting the inspiration from other people. So quite weird, but anyway, I guess maybe it kind of comes to the whole idea of searching for meaning, fulfillment, because maybe you have a hard time finding it yourself or something like that. Um, Anyway, that's another reason why I'm always looking at new hobbies and whatnot. Last point here is making the most of a short life. Okay, now life is short in the grand scheme of things. Take care of what you have and value each day. So this is very true, right? Obviously, I sound like an old man right now, but it is true. We do not have a lot of time. I'm 25 already, which might seem young to a lot of people, but when I was 15, the 25-year-old was massively old. So times change. And now I am that person. So I've learned that, we should definitely value each day we have. And what we have, we're very lucky, especially if you live in a developed country like Australia, where, you have yes, you do pay a lot of taxes, but you have your healthcare, you have your um, good income jobs. It's very likely that you also have access to various, social, like social opportunities, etc. We are, I feel like quite social. So making the most of a short life, I think. If you're not sure on your identity or purpose, seek out things and people that help figure that out. So yeah, again, I think for me, again, finding those influences or those people online or in my life that kind of help guide or help figure things out or are able to test my thinking has been really key for me. Now, obviously, we have a short life. If we spend too long just trying to figure this out, not good. If we spend no time trying to figure it out, not very good either, right? I think being able to balance this and at each stage in your life, kind of, being able to satisfy that purpose or that meaning or identity, will make you a much happier person. I mean, you're going to know yourself better. You're going to know what works, what doesn't, and you'll have kind of this trajectory in which you know where to go in your life. Super, super important. I feel like many people are lost. I can get lost as well occasionally when things change over time. So it's important to just recalibrate and relook at your situation. Mine's every 3 months or so, but yeah, it depends on the person. Sometimes being able to offset stresses or level up to hobbies could change your life. Um, yeah, I think as well, like hobbies, like I struggled with this quite a lot where I thought, any side hustle is supposed to make me money. I know it sounds crazy, or any kind of like thing I was doing outside of work should be for profit. But I've been able to bounce that out a little bit where, I've realized the value of exercise, going for a walk, spending time with family and friends. We are all social people or social creatures. Um, and being able to level up just through doing these things on the side that might not directly bring an ROI in terms of your bank account, but they bring an ROI in terms of for yourself, right? Changing your life for the better, putting you on the right direction to excel in life. Again, we're only here for a short time. Whatever it is, don't be afraid to go for it. Different things, try different things, and learn more about yourself. Again, short life. In my opinion, we should try a million different things or as many things as we seem interested in. Even this YouTube channel, right? Am I making any money? No. Am I going to be rich? Probably not. But is it something that I'm able to try, and in turn, I'm able to improve my speaking skills. I can improve my confidence when I'm talking to the camera. I can potentially learn some things like while I'm doing research and whatnot. Absolutely. So, and it doesn't take too much time either. So, in my opinion, this is a great example of making the most of a short life. You might think, I wonder what it's like to be a YouTuber or to do something similar to this, and giving it a shot. Right? This is why I try so many things, because it's so important, right? For your identity, purpose, making the most of your short life. Okay, just try different things, see what works, see what sticks. Most things probably won't, and that's fine. Those that do will make a big difference in your life. Okay, especially if they're positive habits or influences, and they kind of push you in the right direction towards what you want to achieve in life. So yeah, guys, that's the video. Hopefully, you guys have really enjoyed. If you have any questions, let me know down below in the comments. But otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.